under the impression that Ken's taking the company down, and so she's over here panic buying NutriBullets and buying a lot of Krugerrands, like a very particular currency, and she never even drinks the smoothies.
Hey guys, Pete here. Succession is back for season 3, and we got our first episode that was titled Secession. It's a table setter where not a lot happened if you really think about it, but there's still a lot to unpack. You got some good memeage and straight up white Bronco era O.J. Simpson callbacks, complete with the dark joke from Kendall, who said I never killed anyone, which is dastardly even if he's the only one that gets it. And just real quick, I have to throw out a spoiler warning. If you're not caught up, then this video won't be for you. Can't have any weevils in the flour sack. And with that out of the way, let's slide the socio-political thermometer up the nation's ass and take a reading. Let's get into it. Season 3 starts right where things were left following Kendall's press conference at the end of Season 2, where he turned on his father on national TV, accusing him of complicity in the cruise scandal that's threatening to see the Roys lose control of Waystar Royco. And he's got the documents from Greg to prove it. His sliding into an empty bathtub is a nice parallel with the Season 2 premiere where he was submerged in a hot tub at a Scandinavian rehab. This time there's no one there to look after him, and as the episode unfolds, it becomes clear that he didn't have a plan for the aftermath of his bombshell allegations. So much so that he hadn't considered that Carolina might not jump on his train, or that the company might lock him out of the building. He's mostly got buzzwords and nowhere to go. There's another nice nod to Season 2 here, the phone call between father and son. Logan calls what Kendall's doing a decent move. He calls it out for what it is, a play. And that does back up the idea that in the finale when he was watching the press conference, he was proud of his number 1 boy. I said that not much happens in this episode. In light of the situation, no one in Logan's orbit can do anything except wait and see what he does. Sure, they can strategize and scheme. That's always a joy to watch. But at the end of the day, he's the one with the power, and everyone else is motivated to preserve whatever they already have in relation to that. Kendall is the one exception. He decides to establish his operations center at Rava's place. You really start to see him getting high on his own hype when he tells her that he kinda did it for them, implying that he kinda did this all for his family. The big thing he's able to accomplish, the one thing that seems to be in his favor, he hired this new lawyer, Lisa Arthur, who by the fact that everyone else in the family was also trying to hire her, is obviously a name, and it does sound like a win for him, and that she's there because of what he's trying to do. She lays things out pretty plainly, telling him that this is a quite complex situation to progress because, as I understand it, you want to take down your dad without implicating yourself and without damaging the company to the extent that you lose control at your shareholder meeting. The government is going to want to talk to him, and Lisa seems like the only one he might be able to count on to be looking out for his best interest. I mean, he's got Greg, whose loyalty might overshadow his incompetence, but I kind of think there's a possibility he'll just go back to work tomorrow. As he's taking these meetings, Kendall is visibly intoxicated. He's in what looks like a manic state, and I think at least right now, he's actually not using coke or any other drugs. He's quite literally getting high from the process. And this really comes across in the meeting he has with the 2 women who are going to be taking over his social media. I guess they're communications people, who are clearly professional and are there with a plan that they can't even get out because he keeps interrupting them. He's talking about getting some BoJack guys and the Lampoon kids and getting his Twitter feed going. And this is the side of Kendall we've seen in the past. So what Kendall was able to do was create this situation where his father is truly vulnerable. The way that he reacts throughout the episode makes it clear that this is something that he's worried about. He can't even get the president on the phone at this point because it wouldn't look good if that was on the White House logs. And in talking with their representative, Gerri isn't able to get any kind of assurances. This has brought people over to Kendall's side, at least a high-powered lawyer in the communications team, and deep down neither one of them, father or son, cares about the actual crimes that happened during the scandal with cruises. Logan decides to go on the offensive. At one point he says he's gonna go full fucking beast, after brushing aside every suggestion saying that he should cooperate or try to make some improvements and put a good face on it. He does realize that he's gonna have to step back from the CEO role, agreeing to put someone else in there, but it's pretty obvious that he still wants operational control and he's just looking for someone to act as his puppet. The choices come down to Roman, Shiv, and Gerri. Roman comes so close, it does seem like his father was thinking about it. Earlier in the episode, he said everything that his father wanted to hear him say. But on the phone, when Logan doesn't say yes right away, Roman pivots, saying that he'd be willing to work under Gerri and kind of putting her forward, and that does him in. As soon as he gets off the phone, Logan says that Roman's out. And for what it's worth, I do think he was about to say yes, and he just blew it. Because they were friends, Shiv is sent to talk to Lisa about becoming Logan's lawyer. Other than some weird tension that comes up whenever she tries to get her to be her personal lawyer, nothing really comes out of it because she's already talked to Kendall. That takes Shiv out of the running for the CEO, which means that only Gerri's left, so she eventually gets it. Which interrupts Roman's trying to take things to the next level with their relationship. They were in a hotel room together and Roman was really going for it. He says things like, "I'd lay you badly, but I'd lay you gladly," and that he's like a young fighter, raw and still hungry. All of that gets put on hold after she gets the call. Roman decides to call Shiv to rub it in, and then she tells her driver that she had a change of plans, which I guess is indicating that she's gonna go try to talk to Kendall now to examine her possibilities. Things come to an end with Logan walking outside of the hotel looking determined to bring Kendall down. The stage is set and we can imagine where it goes from here. The conversation between Frank and Carl on the plane earlier comes to mind when they were talking about him being the comeback kid. Hard to say how the current situation stacks up against, say, the tabloid suicides, when they nearly went kablooey because of Argentina, the Tiananmen accommodations, or that black cloud after Sally Ann. But Logan would have never gathered the power he has if he wasn't a survivor. Knowing how his last two attempts played out, and seeing Ken's behavior in this episode, the third time going for daddy doesn't feel like the charm. I guess it's more of a question of what he's able to scare up on Logan as he crashes and burns. And as Naomi pointed out last season, watching these people melt down is the most deeply satisfying activity on the planet Earth. I guess as far as going full fucking beast is concerned, the implication is that he'll expose Kendall's involvement in the car accident and the waiter's death. This isn't so cut and dry though. Logan played an active role in covering up his son's criminal act, which is of course also a criminal act. I'm actually not sure how he could follow through with that, and I guess we'll have to wait and see. Some other things on the sidelines here. Tom was mostly a fish out of water this episode. He ended up with Frank and Logan, and we saw that things still aren't resolved between him and Shiv as they were saying goodbye. He really seemed like he was out of his element with no one there for him to punch down on. Not much Connor at all, but that conversation with Willa was something. In the middle of everything else that's going on, he's still trying to figure out how to salvage his investment in the play. He's looking into doing some marketing that would exploit the whole hate watch angle, pushing an Oranos cycle and capitalizing on all the negative reviews to bring in the hipsters and dipshits. I'm looking forward to seeing Gerri in the CEO role. She's one of my favorite characters to watch because she's really good at being just as slimy as everyone else, but appearing to be otherwise, limiting her own exposure, which I imagine being the head of the company will make a little bit more difficult. You got a feel for Ken's ex-wife, Rava. There was a pretty straight line progression from kind of inappropriate to just completely out of line in the way things were happening there, especially with Naomi, so I imagine that will all come to a head soon. The 2-year break seemed to really give the writers some time to get the quips and the one-liners laser focused. This was a solid episode that did a great job picking things up after the high of the season 2 finale. So many hilarious bits that make it one of the funniest episodes in a show that has a lot of them. Greg being Pete Greg, a trip to Sarajevo to avoid extradition, a brief battle to be the temporary replacement, and a whole lot of potential for shifting allegiances to keep things lively. One of the things I wonder about with this show is how far can you stretch the family dynamics before things get stale. So I like the idea of shifting the focus towards the corporate crimes because this is an area where it's clear that no one really cares about the victims, and you can imagine Kendall playing towards that somewhat cynically, trying to differentiate himself from his father when they're all basically the same. It seems like there's some potential there. Mystery razors, reverse banjos, and panic buying Cougarins and NutriBullets. There's a lot of little threads here to pull on later, and that seems like a good place to leave things. Let me know in the comments where you think things are going and what you're hoping to see. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.